manifest anything you want in life. I'm going to give you some stories and some steps that I use to manifest basically my dream life. Now, is it perfect? No. Is there stuff that I'm still working toward? All the time. Does things change and not really work out? Absolutely. Is there obstacles? Yes. Is everything this like easy? No. So I will go over all the steps that I've used, and also looking back on things that I manifested that really did seem easy, but obviously I did set myself up for success. So that is a major thing that we got to talk about. You have to set up yourself for success if you want to manifest the things that you actually want in your life. So let me tell you some stories. I'm going to tell you one about my house that I live in. I live in a mansion. It's 13,000 square feet. I have 13 acres with 4 outbuildings on a horse estate, lots of fencing, lots of stuff, trails and everything. Amazing place. Okay. I didn't get here overnight. Again, you have to plan for your success. You have to set up to ultimately get what you want. All right. And I'll give you steps near the end of this video on how to do that. So I also want to tell you the story about my dog and how I got my dream dog. Is it essentially the dog that I thought would be my dream dog? Absolutely not. And how he came into my life. I'll also tell you how I got another dog that essentially I didn't think I was going to get. And then essentially it came into my life anyways. So let's go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, my house. A lot of people see my house maybe through content, through bits and pieces that I record. Essentially, like I said, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go and buy a mansion. I have all this money. That did not happen that way in the slightest. So how it actually happened, years ago, I would drive past this property on my way to my other house that I lived for essentially 10 years. At that time, I don't know how long I was living there, but I essentially passed this property for many, many years. And I saw it being built in the distance because you could kind of see it from one of the back roads, but it's really hard to see. And so every time I passed, I would look over and try to get a glimpse on the construction. And I noticed it was a beautiful house that was being built. It was amazing. It was like 5 times bigger than the house I lived in at the time. Even though my house then was pretty decent size. It was like 3,000 square feet, maybe a little under that. But it was good size for just 2 people and 2 small children at the time. So essentially I was like, oh, I would love to actually live in that house. Every time I drove by it with my kids, I would love to live there. I wonder what it would be like to live in that house. And over time, what happened is there was a time that me and my partner was looking to move, and we were looking around, and I kept searching the MLM system to see what was available. Well, there was a house that was foreclosed in the neighborhood that essentially this house was in. And I was like, I wonder if it's that house. And so I did my research and everything, and I was like, it's really possible, can be, okay? There was no pictures or anything like that. So we contacted a friend of ours that was a realtor, and it was the house. Essentially, there was a whole other story, which I'll get into more details, just say more details if you want to learn more on the story. But essentially, we got the house, but it was a long process, and there was a lot of things that we didn't think we were going to get the house. It was more money. We had to sell some stuff. There's a lot more to the story. But essentially, if you want to learn more about the house, just say learn more about the house or something. So I know that and do another whole video on that and how you can achieve that too, your dream house. Okay, so the other story I wanted to tell you is based on my dog, okay? Now, my one dog that I had prior to the one that I have now, he passed. So essentially, I wanted another Yorkshire because my first Yorkshire passed after 16 years. I wasn't really looking at the time, but I was scrolling through Facebook, just a normal routine. I wasn't looking for a dog. I just want to put that out there. And I scrolled past this one post, just as you do on any social media. And I was like, that's my dog. I just knew it instantly. I was like, that's my dog. I know that's my dog. In my heart, I know that's my dog. It's supposed to be with me. And that dog was in Stafford, which is only about 30 to 40 minutes away from me, depending on what part of Stafford. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm close to them. And I'm friends with this lady on Facebook, which I didn't know how I became friends with her on Facebook. I didn't know any rescues or anything around here. and it just so happened she was up the road. Again, a really long story made short that I'll cut straight for the chase is I ended up getting the dog. But again, a lot of ups and downs, twists and turns, a lot of things that just made me think there is no way I'm getting this dog. Like, it took me weeks to get a hold of her. So by that time, I thought the dog was even going to be mine. But essentially it did. That dog passed. I got another dog. I'll be really quick on this one. And essentially with that dog, same type of scenario in a way that I knew, well, this time I knew what type of dog I wanted. I knew I wanted a loyal dog that was loving, but not so much of a lap dog. Could be on my lap if it wanted to all day, could put it in a bag. Another Yorkshire. I wanted it to be middle, not essentially middle age, but I wanted it to be hyper when I wanted it to be hyper, but also calm, but also a great trail dog, but also something that could sit in the car all day. So very, very flexible. And I thought I would get that with a puppy I got, a Jack Russell puppy, Mini, and just train her to be that type of dog. That did not happen in the slightest. And during the time that I got her as a puppy, my friend of mine, the one that gave me that other Yorkie, needed to rehome some of her dogs. And she was like, listen, I got these dogs. Do you want any of them? And I was like, well, I will take one. I'll take one. I already have this puppy that I'm training. I can't really take another one. I've got another elder dog that was about to pass. So essentially that dog became my dream dog. Okay. Was not expecting it, but it was something that I knew I wanted. And it was, essentially on my vision board. Right. So it came to fruition. Again, more on that story. If you want to know any more of these stories more in detail, just let me know in the comments below. So with all that said, what are steps that you can take to get your dream anything? You can manifest anything in your world, in your life. Okay. There is essentially two things you need to determine. You need to determine what is the thing that you're trying to manifest. Okay, so if it's, say for example, it's a following around your community on social media. If you're trying to build a social following, I do have a course on that. It's called socialscale.net. You can go straight there. You can see the information in the details, or you could just go to my bio and go to the Stand Store site and find the information there. Okay, so you can do that, and that will help you drastically with how to implement the steps you needed to manifest what you ultimately want. Remember, there is steps involved, all right? So when you're manifesting anything, you still got to put in the work, all right? But when you put in the work, what they say is opportunity always is attracted to alignment, right? So you have to have the equal exchange of the opportunity. So your exchange is that knowledge, is you working toward it. You don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen because you keep putting in the work to attain it, okay? You're getting your finances ready. You're getting whatever you need. You're getting that ready. You're getting the information. You're, taking the notes. You're putting the pictures on so you're reminded of it every day. You're putting in the work. Okay, so first and foremost, you need to know what you want, and you've got to put in the work. So you have to identify ways that you can do that. The books, the courses, the people, the communities, and get involved in all of that as much as you can. Surround yourself, your environment is that now. That is your main goal, okay? And really think about it all the time, make yourself in that position that you're always around that, okay? That's going to be your number one thing to get what you want, okay? Number two, which is actually kind of number one as well, make sure not only you're clear, but you don't have a whole bunch of things you want, okay? You want one specific thing until it manifests, and then you think of another specific thing, or you go after another specific thing. Don't try like, oh, I want this and this and this and this and this other thing. You can only put so much work into like actually working toward these goals. So make sure that you are super focused on one ultimate goal, okay, in your life. Like, what is that one thing that you're truly working toward every single day, okay? Make that your mission. Okay, so two also involves making the plan. So any distractions, you got to get rid of those. Anything that's going to be a negative influence on getting that, get rid of those. Make it your mission to, again, fully emerge, have a goal to, set aside time. Make it your mission to make that so big in your life that it's inevitable that you'll get it and you will manifest anything. Hope this video has helped. Make sure you follow for more of these videos.